imagine being mad at church? I mean, what the? But the reason he's upset, the reason that he refused to say the Lord's Prayer is because the bishop who gave the sermon apparently forgot to put on her MAGA hat. Trump only likes mass when it's followed by the word deportation. That is a fact.
Yes, the propaganda apparatus of the Democrat Party is ubiquitous. It is everywhere. It's unavoidable. It's information dominance, like an invading army. Well, happy Wednesday to you, and welcome back once again. We continue to be reachable at 888-630-9625. The bishop at the Washington National Cathedral for the quadrennial prayer service following the inauguration of the president and vice president on Monday. Prayer service held yesterday at the National Cathedral, a wonderful Gothic structure, beautiful, wonderful, great example of a Gothic cathedral. And then politics poisoned the whole thing because, you know, people that call themselves liberals love to do weird sexual things to children, like try to transgenderize them. And they love waving gang members from Venezuela into the country to set them loose in your daughter's junior high school locker room because the Democrat Party is not well at all, not well at all. And we've got a lot going on with the bishop and President Trump yesterday and Vice President Vance at the National Cathedral. See, Vice President Vance, now, President Trump maintained a good straight face, unlike what the late-night politicians are talking about. Some of them used to be comedians, but they're not comedians anymore. It's just Democrat Party propaganda. Now there's a Republican in the White House again. So late-night TV and Saturday Night Live are going to be all Trump all the time because they couldn't make fun of Joe Biden. It's a party mandate. But with that said, we've got a lot of Democrat Party news. And I want to get to a couple of other things, too. For example, there is a Democrat mayor in the city of Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, which is, I don't think, a sexual reference, is it? I'm not entirely sure. But they've got a mayor there. She's a Democrat. Her name is Sherelle Parker. Sherelle Parker. She's WOC. She's a woman of color. And the headline, because, you know, there's a big football game coming up. I don't know if you heard anything about this, but a lot of fun stuff going on. Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, and a big important football game this weekend. Philadelphia Mayor Sherelle Parker, a Democrat, may have been a bit overzealous on Monday as she and the rest of the city celebrated the Philadelphia Eagles' NFC championship berth. It's a championship berth. Parker addressed the city on Sunday ahead of a snowstorm and deep freeze that was set to impact the Northeast. Temperatures expected to drop in the high teens on top of about 6 inches of snow. And as she concluded, she's wrapping up her remarks, she expressed her support for the Eagles, their football team, you know, the Philadelphia Eagles. And she decided that she wanted to show that she's got team spirit and, all that stuff. Let's go Eagles, right? The sentiment was there, but fans noticed that a bizarre spelling of the team and took to social media to talk about it, as you might expect. Now let's go to Sherelle, the Democrat mayor of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and I'm looking forward to the Redskins. The Redskins, some people call them the Commanders. It's kind of like Twitter and X when it comes to a lot of things, but now they call them the Commanders, which is too militaristic, isn't it? Way too militaristic for me. Amazing stuff. But the Eagles, a big victory over the Los Angeles Rams, the NFC divisional round to advance to the conference title game for the second time in 3 years. And you'd think that maybe she would know a little something about the team, but she doesn't. Now, this is political leadership in the United States of America, courtesy of the Democrat Party in 2025, that Democrats are, they choose somebody because of their melanin levels, that is to say their race, by their genitalia, even though they can't tell you what a woman is and what a man is. But they choose people for all the wrong reasons. It's a DEI thing, diversity, equity, and inclusion. And you don't want a white man because white is bad and man is bad. I smell man stink. I smell man stink. That's what Democrats guys say. And white people are bad. Other than the fact we give you like electricity and instantaneous global communications and air travel and modern medicine and things like that. Clean water, all the things you want. But here is the Democrat mayor of Philadelphia. Her name is Sherelle Parker, cheering on her team. And for Democrats listening along, her team is the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles are big birds like the bald eagle that fly around. And here's Democrat Philadelphia Mayor Sherelle Parker.
Let me hear you all say, E-L-G-L-E-S, Eagles! Let's go, Birds!
And she didn't catch herself there, didn't she? What did she chant, Michael? She chanted not the spelling of Eagles, but she chanted E-L-G-S-E-S.
E-L-G-S-E-S, Eagles!
And everyone chants along with her like it's North Korea, because what are you going to do? Hey, Mayor, you just misspelled the word Eagles. It's not actually spelled E-L-G-S-E-S. But if you say so, because you're the head Democrat in charge here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the birthplace of our constitutional republic. And how do you spell that again?
E-L-G-S-E-S, Eagles!
And it was on that day that the mayor discovered that she's dyslexic. Not until this day, not until today did she learn that she was dyslexic, and that's pretty amazing stuff. Your E-L, I don't even know how to pronounce that. Elgses. It's Elgses, E-L-G-S-E-S. She's the elected Democrat mayor of the city of Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. Just amazing stuff. Your Democrat Party, our political leadership, and they tell us that this is great. Now, again, the party of the Confederate States of America, and just amazing. And the party of Jim Crow, the Democrat Party.
Republic has awakened a powerful force in this nation. Women. W-O-W. No, I'm not joking.
W-O-W. Wait, the women, W-O-W. Wow. Was he looking at one woman in particular? Because W-O-W, that's kind of amazing. Man, I'm telling you, that's Joe Biden. And he's not the sharpest bulb in the constellation, is he? No, he's not. But these are the Democrat Party. These people, can you say these people? These people are Democrat Party, and there's Joe Biden. He doesn't know how to spell woman. The mayor of Philadelphia doesn't know how to spell Eagles. Then, of course, one of our favorites is always the Reverend Al Charlatan.
So in the words of my late friend Aretha Franklin, show some R-E-S-P-I-C-T.
Show some R-E-S-P-I-C-T. Some, got a little respect. He's the Reverend Al Charlatan. And he's a seven-figure guy journalist at NBC Fake News. Man, and that was funny enough, but then Barack Obama, who actually did go to Harvard Law School, he jumped in on the subject, too.
When Aretha first told us what R-S-P-E-C-T meant to her.
R-E-S-P-E-C-T, that's he wanted to make sure to get it right because he knew about the Al Sharpton moment, I think. Isn't that amazing? Yes, sir. Man, oh, Manischewitz.
R-E-S-P-I-C-T. Find out what it means to me. R-E-S-P-I-C-T. Skillets and IT.
Skillets. I love those skillets. All right? I love those skillets. They're little, they're kind of chewy, but they're good. They're tasty. They're sour, sweet and sour. They're like that. Yeah, Sherelle Parker has a degree from an Ivy League institution because all Democrats do. It's the law. University of Pennsylvania, master's in public something or other, and isn't that great? Lincoln University for me, but then the University of Pennsylvania, Ivy League. The Ivy Leagues are not what they used to be. Am I right about that?
ELGSES, Eagles!
And they all chant along with her. They're all just going along with it because the Democrat brain is a terrible thing to waste, isn't it? But it's been wasted. Okay, let's go to the telephones, and today is Mailbag Day. It's Mailbag Day, and of course Hump Day at the Clinton household, whichever multi-million-dollar mansion they're in today. Hillary Clinton waking up once again face down in a pool of her own dried vomit next to an empty 1-gallon cardboard box of cheap New Zealand Chardonnay, with members of the Secret Service standing over her with their arms akimbo, shaking their heads. So sad. What might have been. Hillary Clinton. She'll never amount to anything. All right, let's go to, she was a terrible chief diplomat. How many countries did we attack with the military? Well, Hillary Clinton was our chief diplomat. The world lost track. It was that 8-month war in Libya, but never mind that. All right, let's go to the phones. Let's go to Tonto. Tonto calling from Fairfax, Virginia. Tonto, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, Brother Chris, can I get a witness? I got a question for Bishop Boutte, and that is, would the Alphabet Mafia even be in existence were it not for straight people?
Well, honestly, they're just to say that they're contrarian would be insulting to contrarians. They're dysfunctional, and they've organized and unionized. The mentally disturbed people of the United States of America have been they've formed groups, and the Democrats have organized them by way of Facebook groups and Twitter groups and all this, and they've got them all together, and now they've unionized the crazy people in the United States. And yeah, the LGBTQ thing, whatever, nobody's cared for about 50 years what you do with your own life and in your own time. Nobody cares. Why you have to make your sexual orientation a part of our daily lives is the mystery. That's what I don't understand fully. Can't we just all get along, as Rodney King said? Can't we just, you live in peace and we live in peace and we all live in harmony with one another? But they can't do that, can they, Tonto?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I don't get in your face about my heterosexuality. Keep your nose out of mine.
Right, that's exactly right. You don't hear about my heterosexuality all day, every day. I'm not wearing T-shirts about my heterosexuality. I don't have bumper stickers on my Prius. I don't have a Prius about my heterosexuality. My whole life isn't all about my sexual orientation, and my whole life really shouldn't have to be about your sexual orientation either. And I don't know if these people remember normal not so long ago, when everybody, certainly in big cities all across America, just got along in harmony, black and white, Latino or Latinx, as Joe Biden likes to say. Everybody got along just fine. I've been living in Washington, D.C. for more than 30 years, and I got to tell you, it's never been as creepy and weird and hostile as it is today, and it's because of the Democrats. Nobody cared about, DuPont Circle being a gay neighborhood. Nobody cared. They had the drag races. They have the drag brunches on Sundays. Nobody cares. You got black people and white people living together for the better part of a century now. And we just had a caller a little while ago, a man who married for 50 years, a white man married for 50 years to his African-American wife, has African-American children. And, that's 50 years. This is the Democrat Party, which is the left now, creating division and tearing us apart, tearing us asunder, because they like conflict. That's what the left likes, pitting groups against one another. And Tonto, thank you, for just, remember normal. like at the Chris Plant store with T-shirts and coffee mugs. Remember normal. Can't we all just get along? Rodney King. The left is here to tear us asunder. Asunder, it's like, marital vows thing. There it is. Tonto, thanks. We're at 888-630-9625, and today is Mailbag Day, too. Chris here with a list of things that none of us should trust. The Washington Post, the New York Times, anything on CNN. Here's a list of things that I do trust. The Washington Times. Support real journalism for just $1 a week at washingtontimes.com/Chris. Yes, and 35 Democrats voting against the Lake and Riley Act yesterday, which has it that if you're an illegal alien that came into the country illegally as an alien, and then you're caught committing a crime like shoplifting, that you're fast-tracked for deportation. And the Democrats are furious with this. Why would you deport illegal aliens that commit crimes once they get here? The Democrats want to know. I guess they haven't been mugged yet. Let's go back to the telephones. Let's go to John calling from Florida, the great state of Florida. John, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, Chris, love you, love your show. You know, I listen to this guy on the radio every day who often says words mean something. And illegal alien is not synonymous with immigrant. And during her sermon, in quotes, she really interchanged. It's as if it was synonymous. Somebody just needs to call her out on that, just alone. And they do this all the time. You know, an illegal alien is not an immigrant. My parents were immigrants, but, they went through Ellis Island, and it took them a long time.
Well, that's exactly right. And it's the manipulation of language is something that the left mastered long ago in faculty lounges and beyond, and the study of dialectics and manipulation of public opinion by the use of this word versus that word, that they focus, group, text. And that's right. Americans, we all love immigrants. We're most of us are immigrants or near enough. And our parents, our grandparents, and so on. But illegal, it's like saying, oh, the Republicans are cracking down on driving. No, it's drunk driving that they're cracking down on. It's not, oh, you're cracking down on the use of pharmaceutical drugs. No, cracking down on the use of the illegal use of pharmaceutical drugs and fatal drug overdoses. And the Democrats fight you at every turn by manipulating the language, by cheating the language. And you're right, John, as I like to say, they use the words, but they don't know what they mean. And words do have meanings, very deliberate meanings, and you're aware of that. I'm aware of that. Why is the Democrat Party not aware of that, John?
Yeah, they work hard to make it different, don't they?
Yeah, they are aware of it. They're that dishonest. They're the fundamental dishonesty that they have taught, and it's really caught. They capitalize on all the worst elements of human nature. Yes, and Mailbag Day, Hump Day, Clinton House, Mailbag Day, Chris Plant Show. Remarkable stuff. Got this crazy left-wing bishop, the bishop, and President Trump yesterday. We've got Democrat madness everywhere you look, including Eagles, ELGSES, that, if she were a Republican, she would already be the laughingstock of the planet Earth. Dan Quayle was at the inauguration. George H.W. Bush's vice president, who was smeared and slandered by the news media. He did have an awkward moment at a school with children once, and it defined his entire life because of a corrupt news media, Democrat-owned and operated news media. But now the Democrat mayor of Philadelphia with ELGSES spelling Eagles in a chant, no less, with people following along.
ELGSES, Eagles!
Democrats. That's public education. Of course, I mean, again, Ivy League. She has a University of Pennsylvania degree. Don't be impressed by Ivy League degrees. Don't be impressed by higher education in all of its many forms. I got to tell you. Now because I didn't finish up on the bishop Marianne Budde, Budde. Nobody knows how to pronounce it. Every news channel is pronouncing it differently, and that's fine with me. She is a woman, apparently, and married to a man because it's the Episcopal Church, and they have children, according to her Wikipedia page and stuff. She there's a lot she doesn't like. She's hostile and she's political, left political, of course, naturally. And let's go back now to the bishop as June 2nd of 2020. Now, the irony is that this was after several days. She's at the White House, and she's all dressed up in her bishop stuff, and she's got a what are they called, N95 face mask on. She's got, because of the Wuhan Red Death, loosed by the communist Chinese with the help of Anthony Fauci and U.S. tax dollars. But that's not important now. June 2nd of 2020, President Trump and his family had been evacuated from the private residence in the White House because of the violent mob of Democrats outside. And they set fire to the Church of the Presidents across the street from the White House.
Off the grass, off the gas, off the glass,
Brick. The Democrats brought in pallets of bricks, pallets of frozen water bottles, bags of their own urine, bottles of their own urine, bags of their own feces, throwing them at the police. And that was the end of May, 2 days, the end of May, the first day of June in 2020. The president was evacuated. The historic Church of the Presidents, I think an 1815 church, was set on fire by the Democrats. And the next day, June 2nd, this bishop showed up to attack President Trump. And the news media helped because it's all a circle fest in a hot tub. Again, June 2nd, after 3 days of riots at the White House, here's this Episcopal bishop down there supporting arson of churches and terrorism of the President of the United States and the White House.
First of all, the context which your reporting described, that after speaking so harshly and with militaristic overtones to the nation, he had the park of peaceful protesters cleared with tear gas and officers in riot gear to make a symbolic gesture, holding a Bible as if to spiritually condone a message and a posture that is antithetical to the teachings of Jesus and everything that we as a church stand for.
Well, he's the president of the United States. He didn't order the police to use tear gas. That's, his way below his pay grade. So you got that wrong. To call them peaceful protesters who set the Church of the Presidents on fire, injured between 160 and 180 police officers, brought bags full of M80, you can call them firecrackers, an eighth of a stick of dynamite, blow your hand clean off, and the frozen water bottles and the bricks. They were not peaceful protests. You're a fraud. You're an ignorant charlatan. I know you're the bishop of the Episcopal Church in Washington, but welcome to America, kitty cat. You're a fraud and a charlatan. You're a disgrace to the Bible, to the Episcopal Church, and even to the 10 suggestions. Honestly, amazing stuff. That's her on June 2nd of 2020. And it wasn't, and President Trump walked across the street because the church had been torched, the Church of the Presidents, one of the most historic churches in the United States of America. President Trump walked across and he held up a Bible, and he was attacked for it, even by this fraud, this charlatan, this fake bishop. Then here she was the next day, June 3rd of 2020, now with the mob in front of the White House.
Why did you want to come out here and send
their message? It is a message of a call for justice, for swift justice for George Floyd, for systemic justice for
George
all
Floyd.
brown and black people who have been under the knee of this country in ways that we have witnessed time and again. This is wrong. And this rising up, this spontaneous uprising of people mostly half my age or younger. They're the ones we should be listening to.
And they're angry at the president.
They're so angry.
They're angry at the president. So what is your message to President Trump today?
Reporter.
Well, I've given up speaking to President Trump. We need to replace President Trump. We need leadership that will lead us in the ways that this country deserves.
Yeah, George Floyd was a career criminal junkie who had more fentanyl in his system than the average city block in Detroit. And according to one autopsy, he would have died of a fatal drug overdose if he had been at home on his Barcalounger rather than resisting arrest yet again for another felony with fentanyl and methamphetamine coursing through his veins. But, choose your heroes, because you will be judged by the heroes you choose. And the spontaneous, no, it wasn't spontaneous, it was orchestrated and organized by underground leftist organizations like trained Marxists who bragged about being trained Marxists at the head of Black Lives Matter, who siphoned off, more than $1 billion, I think, in the shakedowns, and they're buying mansions in Canada. Remember, the mansion they bought in Canada had actually been the headquarters of the Communist Party in Canada, coincidentally. Isn't that amazing? Now, the bishop is a liar, and I'm sorry to have to say that out loud, but I don't think she can be that ignorant. It's possible, I guess, but I'll give her more credit than that, not being that dumb. Yeah, George Floyd, and time again, really, because an unarmed black man being shot and killed by the police in the United States, the number of people that happens to, smaller than the number of people killed in lightning strikes in the United States of America. Literally true statistics I looked up myself. Much less likely for a black man to be shot and killed while unarmed. If you're attacking the police with a gun or a knife, Joe Biden says, if an unarmed person is attacking you with a knife, he's talking to the police, not bright people. And then January 6th, 2021. January 6th, remember 2021? There was some activity at the Capitol, and somehow the bishop of the Episcopal Church in Washington was down there.
Mr. President, there has been no fraudulent election. You called your supporters to our Capitol. You fed their wild fantasies and conspiracy theories. You whipped them into a frenzy. This is not acceptable. And let us be clear, to those who see this as a Christian endeavor or something to be blessed in the name of Jesus, there is nothing Christian about what we are witnessing today. Nothing.
Nothing at all. Nothing at all. So she's obviously an extremely political person, a radically political person, and she's supporting the George Floyd riots and the rioters at the White House that again set fire to the church and forced the evacuation of the president, injured 160 to 180 police. She's supporting them because St. George of fentanyl is the hero of the day. And here she is condemning protesters at the Capitol, while out of the other side of her mouth the day before, supporting the rioters and looters and arsonists from Seattle and Portland to Chicago and Minneapolis and Kenosha and New York and on it goes. Here's the bishop.
We accept outcomes we may not like. We live to struggle another day. We are gracious in victory and magnanimous in defeat. But that's not what we're seeing today. The demonstrations here in Washington want to take those foundational principles that have undergirded this nation for nearly 250 years, and toss them out. They do not respect our laws. The protesters do not respect our social contract. They do not respect our safety. And they bring dishonor to themselves and on those they claim to support.
She's a political radical. Ashley Babbitt was killed that day. There were a couple of dozen people killed in the George Floyd riots, murdered in the George Floyd riots. Thousands of businesses looted and torched and otherwise destroyed in the name of George Floyd, a career criminal and drug addict who tragically died of a cardiac failure at an age all too young while he was resisting arrest yet again from yet another crime, another felony crime. The left is here, and the left, don't be deceived. They're not people of the church. They will use the church to manipulate public opinion. And the bishop here, now I want to know where she stands on abortion, because I got $1 right here that says that she's all pro-abortion. I'm just guessing because I don't know the woman from Adam, and, I want to say she might be confused with Adam, but never mind that. I'm just going to go ahead and bet that as a bishop in the Episcopal Church, she's found a way to say that abortion is just fine, just fine. Wah, wah, wah. Where does she? She's so political. Surely she's come out, if you will, on the abortion issue and in favor because, wah, wah. Our Democrat Party, they poison everything. You try rubbing them out. You try scrubbing them out. Isn't that amazing? President Trump had all kinds of amazing stuff going on at the White House yesterday with billionaires in there investing hundreds of billions in the United States of America. And I have mailbag questions today, too. Mailbag questions coming up as well. Now, let's go back to the telephones, Michael. Let's go. We do have a lot of weather going on, funny weather. Snow on the ground, in a lot of it in Pensacola, Florida. U.S. Navy flight school and all that stuff. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Matt calling from Charleston, South Carolina. Matthew, you are on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, Matt.
Happy hump day to you.
Why, thank you.
Yes, I am from the frozen tundra, snow-covered Charleston, South Carolina.
Is that global warming or is that climate change?
I really can't figure it out.
It is Pensacola. A friend in Florida is sending pictures of snow in Florida, and it's unusual. And the Democrats have politicized it already.
Yeah, I understand that, but I gotta tell you one thing.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard this my whole entire life. When hell freezes over. And Pelosi, Schumer, DNC, the MSM, everybody said Trump will never get into office until hell freezes over. And guess what? It did freeze over, but we don't call it hell here. Yes, it is a little hot in the summer, but we call it paradise. But he is in office. Now, I've never actually seen that play out, right? That, well, when the hell freezes over, my dad used to say that to me. My mom used to say that.
Sure.
To me. My teachers used to say that to me.
Yeah.
Everybody, when the hell freezes over, well, it happened.
Well, it happened, and Trump is back in the White House, and the left has sort of lost their minds. Again, I mentioned that my sister-in-law and her boyfriend were in town for the inauguration from Atlanta, Georgia, and after Trump's speech, the inaugural speech, a liberal walked by him and muttered, "I can't believe it. There are only two genders now.
I know.
And and there's only one moon orbiting the Earth, and the Earth is orbiting only one sun, and there are only two genders. We need to shake out of this trance that the left has the country in, and we need to remember normal. We need to get back to normal. Matt, thank you, and I know certainly Charleston, South Carolina, been there, loved it. Not hell. Frozen over or not, definitely not hell. Thanks, Matt.
I've given up speaking to President Trump. We need to replace President Trump.
Okay. Mailbag coming up the next hour, and more President Trump, and the world is changing beneath our feet. With each breath we take, the world and the country changing. for the better. The crazy people have been kicked to the curb a little bit. And I think that this bishop appears to be a pro-choice, pro-abortion bishop. It's kind of a funny church thing I don't quite get. Let's go to the telephones. Let's go to James, calling from the great state of Oklahoma. James, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Oh, I love you, brother. You're so awesome. Well, I'm a biblical theologian, so I, of course, understand exactly what this woman has done. She's pretending that the English translation of the Hebrew words means things that they don't mean, and she ignores so much of the biblical legislation regarding the illegal immigrant or the illegal alien and then the legal immigrant. So she takes verses that talk about how you're to love the legal immigrant, and she applies them how you're specifically not supposed to treat the illegal alien nokri that way. So I don't know if she's just ignorant, but in either case, she takes the name of God in vain by saying, in the name of our God.
I think she might be first a political liberal, self-described, right? Which usually means you're not a liberal. It usually means you're a leftist because, mainstream America, we're a liberal culture, Western culture, tolerant and all that good stuff. But the left are the most intolerant people in the discussion. And how she made her way to being the bishop of the Episcopal Church in the nation's capital in the United States of America, I will never know. But we're living in funny times, aren't we, James?
Well, I believe that the Spirit of God does want us to rise up and to fight for truth. I mean, in a peaceful way, of course, if possible. But yeah, anyway, it's a shameful thing. Christians have to understand what the Scripture says in order to stop the abuse of it by this equivocation, pretending that words mean things that they don't mean. It's a logical fallacy.
Well, you're right about that. And look, again, this is something that came up with an earlier caller today, too. The manipulation of language by the left is something they've focused on very intently for a very long time, for generations now in college campuses. And so manipulating public opinion and the public discourse, the public discussion by manipulating language is an old trick of the left and of, dare I say, Satan.